Fair Use Daily Reflections. This is a book of reflections by AA members for AA members. June 5th. Entirely ready? This is the step that separates the men from the boys. The difference between the boys and the men is the difference between striving for a self-determined objective and for the perfect objective, which is of God. It is suggested that we ought to become entirely willing to aim toward perfection. The moment we say no, never, our minds close against the grace of God. This is the exact point at which we abandon limited objectives and move toward God's will for us. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 63, 68, and 69. Am I entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character? Do I know at long last that I cannot save myself? I have come to believe that I cannot. If I am unable, if my best intentions go wrong, if my desires are selfishly motivated, and if my knowledge and will are limited, then I am ready to embrace God's will for my life. Courage to Change, One Day at a Time in Al-Anon, June 5th. The third step talks about placing my will and my life in the care of a higher power. For me, this power is a presence that loves me as I am, that accepts me with compassion on the bad days as well as the good. Once I have accepted that the destructive presence of another's alcoholism has affected my life, I need the benevolent influence of a power untouched by this disease. What I do in turning over my will and my life is to become receptive to guidance. I become willing to accept the care of a power greater than myself. I think of this care as a source of love and support that surrounds me in my daily life. I do not need to earn it or to work for it. I need only be receptive to it. I continue to have a will to exercise and a life to live, but I do so bathed in a light of love and understanding. Today's reminder: when I open my heart to a power that fills me with love and acceptance, I can begin to extend those qualities to others. I may not do it perfectly or even consistently, but I can recognize my progress one day at a time. There is a quote by Elizabeth Barrett Browning, and it reads, "God's gifts put man's best dreams to shame." Just for today, Daily Meditations for Recovering Addicts, June 5th. Honest prayer. Although honesty is difficult to practice, it is most rewarding. Basic text, page 96. How difficult we find it to be honest. Many of us come to NA so confused about what really happened in our lives that it sometimes takes months and years to sort it all out. The truth of our history is not always as we have told it. How can we begin to be more truthful? Many of us find it the easiest to be honest in prayer. With our fellow addicts, we sometimes find that we have a hard time telling the whole truth. We feel certain that we won't be accepted if we let others know us as we really are. It's hard to live up to the terminally hip and fatally cool image so many of us portrayed. In prayer, we find an acceptance from our higher power that allows us to open our hearts with honesty. As we practice this honesty with the God of our understanding, we often find that it has a ripple effect in our communications with others. We get in the habit of being honest. We begin to practice honesty when we share at meetings and work with others. In return, we find our lives enriched by deepening friendships. We even find that we can be more honest with ourselves, the most important person to be truthful with. Honesty is a quality that is developed through practice. It isn't always easy to be totally truthful, but when we begin with our higher power, we find it easier to extend our honesty to others. Just for today, I will be honest with God, myself, and others. Today, Emotions Anonymous, June 5th. Reflection for today. Too often I agonize over a problem as if all solutions depend on me. I try to anticipate what to do and what to say. I seem to have to torment myself a while before I remember it is not all up to me. God can help me and is willing to do so, but I have to ask. Often I discover the solution quite soon after I ask. How wonderful to have such a friend to rely on. Meditation for today. May I remember to ask for your help early in a problem. Today I will remember my higher power is my constant and willing source of help. Strengthening my recovery. Meditations for adult children of alcoholics, dysfunctional families. June 5th. Dissociation. In some cases, the stored hurt creates a dissociative effect in the adult. The adult child has dissociated from his or her body. BRB, page 17. As children, we learn to go outside of ourselves to relieve the pain of whatever was happening in the moment. Being the object of our parents' vicious verbal and or physical attacks hurt terribly, but many of us also experienced abuse at the hands of family, friends, and siblings that continued for years. We learned to be somewhere else when that happened. We were afraid to say anything because we feared the abandonment of whatever tenuous relationships we had. As a result, many of us became adults who feared authority. If we were afraid of our father, we may have become fearful of men. If our mother was the perpetrator, we were fearful of women. In spite of this, we wanted these people to love us. When they were unhappy with us, we became helpless children, unable to verbalize our side of the story. We lost our autonomy. Today, we recognize our patterns. We know what's happening when it happens. We have a choice not to use our childhood survival skills. Instead, ACA affirms for us that we are adults and our feelings matter. We do not need approval from others. We own who we are. We can ask for what we really want instead of seeking approval and being people pleasers. The affirmation reads, "On this day I will listen carefully to my heart. I will speak up and voice my feelings, knowing that no abandonment is more painful than when I abandon my true self." I am Day, DAA are my initials, of DHB, which stands for Devotion, Health and Beauty Recovery Network. Please share, subscribe, like, and most of all, be the you that you are created to be, one day at a time, and remember that you are not alone.